Hi, and welcome to RealGuide. RealGuide is your listening guide to a vast assortment of fake books from some of the world's finest music publishers. RealGuide works great on the iPhone, iPad, and even the iPod Touch. We're going to look at the iPad version here, but most of this applies to the other devices as well. One of the first things you should notice about RealGuide is that it changes its layout depending on the orientation of your iPad. In portrait orientation, the search view uses the entire screen. Tap the Browse button and a pop-up list reveals the navigation tabs with all the lists of tunes as well as options and help. Rotate to landscape orientation and the screen splits with the navigation tabs on the left and the search view on the right. Tap one of the indexes on the right side of the list to jump straight to that section. Searching for recordings of tunes is what RealGuide is all about. Tap a song title and RealGuide begins. At the top of the search view, you'll see a summary telling us we have 25 songs in 4 different genres. We can set a limit on the number of search results, and currently we are set to the minimum of 25. There is also a large segmented button that determines the context of our search. Our results here are from the iTunes Store. Tap a tune and the preview will begin to download and play. The player controls at the bottom function much like the controls in the iPad or iPhone music app. A tap on the My Library button will search the music library that is currently on our iPad. Again, the controls work similarly to the controls in the iPad music app. Here we can listen to entire tracks since they are already present on the device. Let's go back to our iTunes Store search results to see the album view. A tap on the arrow button on the right side of the track listing will pop up the album view for that track. Here we see the album information at the top as well as a listing of all the tracks on the album. We can listen to any of these track previews just like before. The player controls at the bottom should look familiar by now. The buttons next to each track show the iTunes Store price for the track. The button in the album information area at the top shows the price for the album. Tapping on any of the price buttons will take you to the iTunes Store where you can make a purchase if you like. Back in our album view, we can find some more options by tapping on the Share button in the upper right corner. This pops up a menu of various options. If we're not ready to make a purchase yet, we can save the search result for this album for later review. We can come back to it at any time to listen to the track previews or jump to the iTunes Store to buy it. We also have some options to share this item with friends. We can send an email, an instant message, or post it to a Twitter account. The lucky recipient will get an iTunes Store link to this album. What a cool way to share all your musical discoveries with your friends and bandmates. For now, I'm just going to save this one for later. In a minute, we'll see where to find it. To close the album view, just tap anywhere outside it. Now let's turn our attention back to the left-hand side of our screen. Along the bottom are buttons for different tabs where we can navigate our way around the application. A tap on the Sources tab shows a list of all the different fake books that our song titles come from. You can see we've included a lot of books covering a lot of styles. Tap on one of the book titles to see all the tunes included with that book. You can select any of the titles just like before. This is a great way to search specific books that you already own, and a great way to explore some of the books you don't have yet. The next tab button takes us to our list of albums that we have saved for later. Let's look for that one we just saved. There it is. Now we're back to our album view just like before. The Options tab allows us to make some settings that affect the behavior of the RealGuide app. You can select the country for the iTunes Store you want to search. Normally this will be set for the country in which you have an iTunes Store account. You can set a limit on the number of results that an iTunes search will return. 200 is the maximum, but you may get less depending on the title and the store you are searching on. Tune Sources allows you to make settings for individual books. Here you can select whether this book's titles appear in the All Tunes list. You may want to hide titles for books that you don't have or are not interested in. There are also a couple buttons that will assist you with purchasing the book on the Sheet Music Plus website or doing a general web search for the book. The Help tab contains a number of topics to help you learn to use RealGuide. A little time spent reading the topics here will help you learn how to get the most out of the RealGuide app. Thanks for taking the time to watch this tutorial. Now start exploring and building out your listening library.